Hello everyone. Today I'm going to go over with you karmic patterns and how they are a shadow facing part of the ascension process. Well, at first I'm going to just go straight into this. We're going to talk about karmic patterns. Okay, karmic patterns which are repeated are called karmic cycles. Karmic contracts are unconscious decisions, beliefs, perceptions, and attitudes which bind us to codependent relationships that are polarized. Every time a karmic block gets activated by triggers, the blocks accumulate emotional energy. Over time, the energy becomes solidified. It gives it a magnetic pull, bringing those same frequencies to us. Since beliefs hold emotional reactions, one must learn what their underlying beliefs are and how they react emotionally in order to change them and to create specific desired outcomes. So, what is a karmic cycle? What is a karmic cycle? A karmic cycle is a repetitious pattern of events, emotions, or realizations that occur in your life. It appears in your life as an opportunity to break negative cycles and subsequently reap great wisdom. It is believed that karmic cycles are opportunities to master life lessons, and until the lesson is mastered, you will continue to repeat the cycle. This growth comes through a series of moral, ethical, and spiritual challenges. What are karmic cycles? In psychology, such cycles can be linked to attachment styles and intergenerational trauma. In spiritual terms, these are types of karmic cycles. The identifying factor is a repeated negative pattern by attracting the same type of people. Studies show that we gravitate towards what feels comfortable, even if that means we end up repeating a traumatic pattern. Facing your fears is a karmic opportunity to reevaluate your life and patterns realistically and change your inner world, thus your outer world. What is an attachment? Attachment is defined as an enduring and deep emotional connection between people that involves the exchange of care, comfort, and closeness. How attachment styles form. Attachment styles are strongly influenced by the way parents raise their children in terms of these elements, and any significant or important early relationship in a person's life determines what type of attachment style a person develops. So factors that contribute to the development of attachment styles. Consistency. Parents who are consistent in their caregiving are more likely to raise children who are securely attached. Inconsistency is a link to anxious, ambivalent attachment styles. Responsiveness. Secure attachment tends to develop when parents respond to their children's needs. Poor responsiveness is often linked to avoidant attachment styles. When children believe that their parents won't respond to their needs, they avoid turning to them for support and care. Neglect and abuse. Parents who are neglectful or abusive are linked to fearful avoidant attachment. These parents are often inconsistent in how they respond to their kids. Sometimes they provide comfort and care, but other times they act as a source of fear, anxiety, and trauma. This confusion contributes to a disorganized mix of attachment behaviors. Proximity maintenance. This refers to being physically near an attachment figure. Safe haven. When a person feels threatened or frightened, they seek out the attachment figure for support and comfort. Secure base. The person that someone is attached to acts as a source of security as a person explores the world and tries new things. Separation distress. Being apart from a person someone is attached to can lead to feelings of anxiety and sadness. There are 4 attachment styles. Attachment styles are characteristic patterns for how people relate to others in close and intimate relationships. The first attachment style is secure attachment. Secure attachment is characterized by strong relationships, trust, affection, resilience, and self-esteem. As adults, securely attached people are able to develop strong, secure, and lasting relationships. They have a strong sense of self, enjoy healthy relationships, and have a solid social support system. The second is anxious, ambivalent attachment. Anxious attachment, also known as ambivalent attachment or anxious ambivalent attachment, is characterized by low self-esteem, neediness, distrust, and fear of rejection. Then there's avoidant attachment. Avoidant attachment is characterized by avoiding emotional connections, hiding emotions, rejecting affection, and withdrawing from others. The last attachment style is fearful avoidant or disorganized attachment. The fearful avoidant attachment style, also known as disorganized attachment, is characterized by conflicting feelings about relationships. They experience a great deal of anxiety about relationships and avoid them even though they crave intimacy and connection. How to change your attachment style. Attachment styles can and do change a great deal over time. While you might be prone to certain patterns, there is evidence that your attachment style changes from one relationship to the next. A strong relationship can help you develop a more secure attachment style, while a detrimental relationship can contribute to more insecure patterns. Your attachment styles can affect your relationships. Your relationships also affect your attachment styles. Because attachment styles can change, it means that there are things that you can do to address problematic behaviors and develop a more secure approach to relationships. You can work on many of these things on your own with good self-help books or with a therapist who can also help you recognize the attachment patterns that are affecting your relationship, which they can also help you learn more effective ways of communicating and give you more coping skills that will help you better tolerate distress. A safe, supportive relationship with your therapist can also serve as a helpful way to learn and rehearse important interpersonal skills. What is intergenerational trauma? Intergenerational trauma refers to the trauma that is passed from a trauma survivor to their descendants. It can also be referred to as transgenerational or multigenerational trauma. Families who suffer generational trauma could have experienced traumatic social, physical, or emotional effects that have shaped their perspective, hopes, ideas, and personalities. People experiencing intergenerational trauma may experience symptoms, reactions, patterns, emotional and psychological effects from trauma experienced by previous generations, which is not limited to just parents or grandparents. Each generation is affected differently and reacts to it in a different way. What is trauma response? If you live with or have lived with chronic stress or have lived through a traumatic event, certain responses activate to help you survive. These are known as trauma responses. Although these responses are helpful for short-term survival, being in the survival mode headspace is harmful to both your physical and mental health in the long term. When your brain learns the adaptive behavior necessary to keep yourself and your family safe or alive, these adaptations are useful in the moment, but remaining in survival mode can limit one's ability to thrive, as living in survival mode is founded in response to fear, trauma, and scarcity. When this occurs, the trauma response can be harmful rather than adaptive. Thriving is only possible when there is a developed sense and experience of safety and security, which people suffering from intergenerational trauma may not have an understanding of or a foundation for, and may continue passing this on to future generations. Generational trauma can be passed on in 4 ways. 1. Children identify their suffering with their parents. 2. The burden of compensating for their parents' suffering in various ways. 3. A particular pattern of parenting demonstrated by survivors to their children. And 4. The communication style between a survivor and the child who suffered trauma. Treatment and coping for intergenerational trauma. Recognizing trauma symptoms, even if they are inherited and you don't have your own memories of them, a trauma-informed approach to care can help you manage your body's psychological response and is vital in coping and seeking support. Intergenerational trauma persists for multiple generations if additional trauma is not present. However, research shows that children of parents with adverse childhood experiences are at higher risk for their own adverse childhood experiences. Trauma-informed interventions and therapy treatment can help you cope with your own symptoms, understand the impact of intergenerational trauma, and equip you with tools to help change deeply embedded patterns to heal yourself and generations after you. Healing intergenerational trauma. Because intergenerational trauma is inherited across generations, it can be fully healed by creating an environment where additional trauma does not occur for multiple generations. It can be healed even in environments of continued stressors with the tools, inner resources, and support needed to care for symptoms and heal the root causes of the intergenerational trauma on physical, emotional, mental, cellular, and ancestral levels. Support and resources for trauma survivors and those living with intergenerational trauma are essential for preventing future traumas. It takes time for cycles to be broken, but it is essential to prevent similar patterns from being repeated as it can be determined to future generations. Learning and teaching about trauma, trauma response, and intergenerational trauma, as well as addressing systematic issues that perpetuate trauma, and then apply what you learn as skills to overcome and leave behind the trauma is the key to better yourself and your family. How to use a karmic cycle for healing. The purpose of a karmic cycle is to ultimately achieve a higher level of spiritual, ethical, and moral wisdom, and by design are for healing. With recognition of a karmic cycle and your readiness to do the mental, emotional, and spiritual work to change them, deeper healing and greater self-actualization are possible. These journeys can be challenging, but by making different choices than the ones you've made in the past, and by forming a stronger connection to your true self, you will break old karmic cycles that no longer serve you and change your life for the better. You do not have to do this alone. Seeking a form of holistic therapy can help. There are many forms that utilize an eclectic mix of cognitive and somatic therapies and tend to the root cause of issues. Karmic cycle pitfalls. If a karmic cycle begins to feel unbearable, look at how you feel when you try to avoid the issues at hand. Running from the pain we experience from emotional work is worse than facing the patterns head on, because it will return. Something to be aware of when navigating a karmic cycle is the concept of spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing is a way of hiding behind spirituality or spiritual concepts that prevent you from acknowledging what you are facing and distance you from yourself and can be used to avoid unresolved issues. Acknowledging you're in a karmic cycle is only the first step in real change. You do have to do the work to create a better life. The impact of karmic cycles. A karmic cycle can change your life. With the proper support, perspective, intention, and action, you will find that your life will change. The core philosophy of facing karmic cycles is a lesson that transcends lifetimes. As you break free of old karmic cycles, your relationships, jobs, and ways of living your life will significantly change as you continue your growth and evolution. So I've presented much to you guys this time, from beginning of attachments, karmic cycles, intergenerational traumas, and multiple aspects here. But this all has to do with karmic cycles, where they come from, how they affect us, and processes we can take in order to overcome them. So, I hope this is helpful to all you guys out there, and have a very good day.